Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sankavadakramo Panishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasti Tadadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So, namaste once again, everyone. Second. Okay. So, now we will take up the 12th chapter of the Gita, which is the last chapter of the second Shatkam, dealing with Ishvara Swarupa. It is a small chapter consisting of only 20 verses, but a very significant chapter which gives a comprehensive picture of the entire Vedic teaching. So we can say that the 12th chapter is the essence of the Vedas, Veda Sara, that is contained in this portion. And in this chapter, the first part deals with the topic of bhakti as a means of moksha. And by the way of discussing this topic, this chapter removes many confusions regarding bhakti yoga. Because people have got lot of misconceptions about bhakti yoga. Unfortunately, the word yoga has got identified with, the yogic practices, which is the Ashtanga yoga. But the name of the very word yoga does not mean only asanas and, dhyanam, etc. Yoga means, as I told right in the beginning, topic. So, Bhakti Yoga means the topic of bhakti. People have got many confusions. And this chapter attempts to remove many of those. And this is discussed up to the 12th verse of this chapter. That we can consider it as first part. And then in the second part, beginning from the 13th up to the 20th, Bhakti Yoga Phalam, namely moksha, is talked about. So thus Bhakti Yoga and Bhakti Yoga Phalam are the two topics discussed in this chapter. And before entering into the actual verses, I thought I would give you a bird's eye view of Bhakti Yoga, which is discussed in this chapter. What we come to know by the study of this chapter is that Bhakti Yoga is not a particular sadhana. It is not a particular distinct sadhana, but it is the name of the entire range of spiritual sadhanas culminating in moksha. So, Bhakti Yoga is a group of spiritual sadhanas. And broadly, these spiritual sadhanas are classified as 3 in number, and which are discussed in the Vedas. And Bhagavad Gita being the essence of the Vedas, the 3 sadhanas of the Veda alone are given in this chapter. And what are those sadhanas? We have already discussed numerous times. Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. In fact, in the Vedas and in the Upanishads, the word bhakti is practically not used at all. Thus, Vedic karma plus upasana plus jnana yoga, all these 3 put together is renamed as Bhakti Yoga. And why do we name these 3 sadhanas as Bhakti Yoga? Because Krishna feels all these 3 levels of sadhana should be practiced only in the atmosphere of Ishvara Bhakti. Without Ishvara Bhakti, these 3 sadhanas cannot be called sadhanas at all. So, it is in the atmosphere of Ishvara Bhakti that these 3 exercises or sadhanas, they become a yoga. Connecting the jiva with Ishvara. And therefore, these 3 sadhanas put together is called Bhakti Yoga. And so, if you have to differentiate, we can say Bhakti Yoga level 1, Bhakti Yoga level 2, and Bhakti Yoga level 3. That way we can put 1, 2, 3 levels. Level 1 is Karma Yoga Lakshana Bhakti Yoga. Level 2 is Upasana Yoga Lakshana Bhakti Yoga. Lakshana means in the form of. We have seen it in the last 2 classes also, when I explained the last sloka of the 11th chapter. And the last one is Jnana Yoga Lakshana Bhakti Yoga. And for the sake of the benefit of all seekers, Krishna subdivides these 3 levels of sadhana into 5 levels. No, it is just like, some old buildings in villages. In fact, I had the opportunity to experience this personally. Old buildings in villages, 50 years, 75 years old buildings. Normally, those buildings will be single storied and they will be built on a at about 3 to 4 feet high from the ground, because especially in Kerala and all, I found heavy rains will be there, so that the rainwater should not enter, and there will be snakes and all that. So if it's the same level as the ground, snakes may enter, and they will actually pave that this thing with some rocky structure, so that it's not easy for snakes to climb, etc. And those that 4 feet height they will cover with some steps made of stone, that is rock pieces cut and made. They make these steps, and each step will be very steep, almost maybe 12 to 15 inches height each step. Perhaps those days it was not difficult to climb, but today, especially for senior citizens, find it very difficult to climb because their leg muscles have all become very weak. And therefore, in many places, what they have done is they suppose there are 3 steps. They have made one more step in between the steep steps to make it easy to climb. So now the height of each step will be something like 8 inches or something like that, so that easy to climb for especially senior citizens. Relatively easy, I should say, because some people will find it difficult to even climb that. Anyway, so similarly, here Krishna feels that the spiritual muscles of people these days have become so weak that they may find it difficult to go through these 3 sadhanas. And therefore, being the compassionate one, he subdivides these 3 levels into 5 levels. And how does he do that? Karma Yoga itself is subdivided into first level Karma Yoga and second level Karma Yoga. So you can say Karma Yoga level 1, Karma Yoga level 2. Upasana Yoga is subdivided into 2 levels. Upasana Yoga level 1, Upasana Yoga level 2. So 2 plus 2, 4. And Jnana Yoga, he does not divide into 2. It is only 1 level. Thus, we have got 2 plus 2 plus 1, 5 levels. Now, there will be a question. What is the difference between Karma Yoga level 1 and Karma Yoga level 2? In Karma Yoga level 1, Krishna wants to accommodate all materialistic people who are not really interested in moksha, who are not really interested in serving the society. If you want to use an extreme phrase, you can say they are utterly selfish, materialistic people. But Krishna does not want to ignore such people. He wants to accommodate all those people also. So Krishna says, let the materialistic, selfish people follow or pursue their worldly desires. They need not give up their worldly desires. Because Krishna very well knows, and today all psychologists also saying the same thing, suppression of desires is a very dangerous thing. When a person suppresses desires, the mind continues fantasizing the fulfillment of those desires. And then gradually the internal pressure builds up like a volcano. And then later on, a person can completely go astray or burst out spewing lava like dvesha, hatred, etc. And therefore, the Vedas as well as Krishna say that even if you are not interested in Bhagavan, it does not matter. Even if you are not interested in moksha, does not matter. You might be interested in artha and kama, money and entertainment and pleasures. No problem. Continue with those pursuits. And still you can be a karma yogi, a spiritual sadhaka, provided you follow a couple of conditions. First condition is make sure that you fulfill your worldly materialistic desires, those selfish desires, only by legitimate methods. Do not indulge in a very famous phrase used by Swami Paramathananda, akramam. Do not indulge in akramam, non-legitimate means to achieve these goals. So that is condition number one. And the second and more important condition is when you pursue your worldly pleasures, desires, and you succeed and get them, before you enjoy those results, those phalams, those pleasures, do not claim them as your accomplishments. Look upon them as a gift from the Lord. Ishwarasya prasadaha. So that attitudinal change, try to bring within in your mind. And then this will prove to be the starting point in your spiritual journey. So whether you buy a house or a car, or you buy a new dress, anything you want to get, you get it. But before enjoying them, even the food that you eat, do not call it as your accomplishment. Take it as Ishwara Prasada. And when you buy a new house also, you have bought a house because it was your desire to buy the house. You want to enjoy the benefit of the house, isn't it? But Krishna makes only one request. Please look upon the house as a temple of God. And you imagine that you are living in a temple which is a gift from the Lord. Krishna Prasada hai, Rama Prasada hai. Any God does not mean Ishvara means whatever your chosen God, you choose whom you like. And that's why, in our culture, children are named Rama Prasada, Lakshmi Prasada, etc. That means what? Look upon even your children not as your children, but as a gift from the Lord. Thus, this level of Karma Yoga, the level 1 of Karma Yoga, can be defined as Prasada Buddhya Sakama Karma Anushtanam. You may follow the Kamya Karmas. You may not do any Nishkama Karmas. You may not do Paropakaraya Karmas. Does not matter. Even if you do all the karmas for your own self, just remember, enjoy it as Ishvara Prasada. So as I said, the first level of Karma Yoga is Prasada Bhavanaya Sakama Karma Anushtanam. Then what will happen? if I continue to accept everything as Ishvara Prasada, because of that very attitude, because I am no longer claiming them as my own achievements, accomplishments, my mind becomes purer and purer. And as the mind becomes purer and purer, I begin to question, can I spend my entire life for my own personal benefit? Shouldn't I contribute something to the world? Should I be what Puja Swamiji says, a consumer till my last breath? At some stage, should I not become a contributor also? These kind of questions gradually emerges in the mind, which is an indication of purity, desire for paraupakara, nishkama karma comes in to the picture. In sakama karma, I have desire only for taking, accumulating. In nishkama karma, I develop a desire for giving also. As I said, in sakama karma, we are consumers. In nishkama karma, we become contributors. Life is not meant for merely taking. Life is meant for giving also. Previously, I measured my success in terms of how much I have taken and accumulated. Now there is a change in my thinking and in my attitude. Now I ask the question, how much I have given? How much more I can give? In what all forms I can give? There are so many natural calamities taking place in some corner of the world or other. Can I contribute something to alleviate the pains of those people? And then I start understanding that success is not proportional to taking. Success is directly proportional to giving. Na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amritatvam anashu. This is the difference between materialistic approach and spiritual approach. And that is why if you ask a person, what do you, he is a very successful person, they say. What do you mean by success? They will define, oh, you see, you got a very good family, lovely wife, big bungalow, car, huge savings, everything, respect in the society because of his money. That is how success is defined in the modern times. That is how they define success in the Western world. So there, success is directly proportional to acquisition. In the spiritual approach, success is directly proportional to sharing or tyaga. And therefore, in the second level of karma yoga, what happens? The sakama karmas become lesser and lesser. Selfish attitude becomes lesser and lesser. My awareness and consideration for other people becomes more and more. And therefore, naturally, I develop an inclination and time for paropakara karmani, nishkama karmani, or panchamahayagnya rupa karmani. Previously, my selfish activities were occupying my whole time, day in and day out, 24 by 7, 365 days. I was only focusing on how to acquire more, how to gain more. Never had any time for contribution. Now I find that in and through fulfilling my selfish desires, I am able to find some time for some contribution or the other. And even when I find time for giving, giving need not be all the time money alone, in the material sense alone. There are so many ways people can give. Time can be given for those longing for companionship. Consoling words can be given for those who are in distress. Knowledge can be shared with others. So all these things are giving. And when I give to others without arrogance, without looking for some benefit for myself, without using this giving as a means for my publicity to boost my ego, that giving becomes Ishvara Arpana Rupena giving. See how beautifully it goes, it gets developed. Therefore, the second level of Karma Yoga is Ishvara Arpana Bhavanaya Nishkama Karma Anushtanam. Para Upakara Anushtanam. So, in the first level, I am very selfish. In the second level, selfishness has come down. In the first level, I have a very narrow mind. In the second level, I am aware of the need of others also. And these two levels together are called Karma Yoga. So, Prasada Bhavanaya Sakama Karma Anushtanam. Then Ishwararpana Bhavanaya Nishkama Karma Anushtanam. The first level of Karma Yoga will give you purity. And the second level of Karma Yoga will give you Chitta Shuddhi at a very faster pace, because in Sakama Karma, purity comes in trickles. In Nishkama Karma, purity is like a downpour, avalanche. And that is why it is said, Paropakara Punyaya Papaya Parapidanam. Is said in one Subhashita. And once a person has gone through these two levels of Karma Yoga, he is ready to graduate to the third level. Third level is Upasana Yoga, which means what? Ishvara Dhyanam. Meditation upon Ishvara. And that too, Saguna Ishvara Dhyana. And why do we prescribe this sadhana as the next stage? Because Karma Yoga is a very important sadhana for purity of the mind. Chitta Shuddhi. For spiritual elevation, Karma Yoga is a must. But Karma Yoga has got certain disadvantages also, which have to be neutralized. What are the disadvantages? When a person is a Karma Yogi, he is busy, continues to be involved either in Sakama Karma in the first level, or he is busy in Nishkama Karma in the second level. One is either busy serving himself, or he is busy serving the society, but both are busy 24 by 7. So in both levels of karma, whether it is Sakama or Nishkama, a person is extrovert in nature. He is more and more world oriented. He is more and more bahirmukha. And this bahirmukhatvam or extrovertedness is an obstacle for Jnana Yoga. Because Jnana Yoga involves inquiring into the inner self. It involves Panchakosha Viveka and also Vairagyam for material pursuits. And this self-inquiry or say Panchakosha Viveka, Vairagyam, etc., they require a mind which is turned towards oneself, not an extrovert mind. Kathopanishad says, Paranchikani Vyatrana Swayambhuhu Tasmat Paran Pashyati Nantaratman. In fact, there, Kathopanishad criticizes Ishvara, Bhagavan. He says, hey, Manushya, if you are an extrovert, you are not to be blamed. It is the Karanam, the Ishvara is to be blamed because he has made all your sense organ look outside. So it's very interesting. If at all we get an opportunity to study Kathopanishad, I will explain that there. So extroverted people will miss self-knowledge. And therefore, Upasana or Ishvara Dhyanam is prescribed. So what happens in Upasana? I turn my attention inwards. I invoke the Lord in my heart, which means I train my mind towards my own inner nature, which is a very, very important training required. And without that training, a person can never come to Brahma Jnanam. And therefore comes the third level of Upasana. Meditation. Meditation on Ishvara. And Krishna divides this meditation itself into two types. One is Eka Rupa Ishvara Dhyanam. Next is Aneka Rupa Ishvara Dhyanam. I visualize the Lord with a particular form as Rama, Krishna, Rudra, Vishnu, any Ishta Devata Rupa. And this Ishta Devata Rupa Dhyanam or Eka Rupa Ishvara Dhyanam, Krishna calls it Abhyasa Yoga. So this Abhyasa Yoga is the third level of sadhana. And once a person has practiced this sufficiently, Krishna asks us to replace this Eka Rupa Ishvara with Aneka Rupa, as we have seen in the 11th chapter. Krishna then is not a person located in one locus, one place. Because if Bhagavan is looked upon as a person located in one place in a temple or in my puja room, etc., Bhagavan will be limited. And everything that is limited in the universe is subject to Janma and subject to Maranam also. But that is not a problem because for initial meditation purposes, that itself is Eka Rupa Ishvara Dhyanam itself is a very difficult sadhana for that matter. Where all along you have been extrovert. In Karma Yoga also you have been extrovert, practice extrovertedness. Suddenly you cannot become introvert and start meditation on, you can't turn your mind inwards. So even though my explanation looks all very simple, it is not that easy. The sadhanas requires tremendous amount of commitment, sincerity, and a goal-oriented approach. So for initial meditation purposes, we can have Eka Rupa, but then that should lead to what? Expansion of our mind. So the first level upasanam, that is Ekarupa Ishvara Dhyanam, helps in focusing the mind, which is what is, the dharana which is practiced in Ashtanga Yoga. That, have a lamp and then focus your eyesight on the lamp and look at the lamp. First level, Ishvara Dhyanam, only focusing your mind, training your mind to focus upon one thing, one idea, one object, one alambanam. Then the second level, the next level upasanam is Aneka Rupa Ishvara Dhyanam. That helps in expanding the mind. You are not looking at Ishvara only in an idol or in a place. You are looking everything in the universe as Ishvara only. I need not elaborate because I hope that all these teachings are fresh in your mind. And both of them still come under Saguna Ishvara Dhyanam only. Because whether it is Ekarupa Ishvara, Aneka Rupa Ishvara, both are Saguna Ishvara only. Ishvara with attributes or properties. Ekarupa Ishvara also has attributes. Vishwarupa Ishvara also has got innumerable attributes, as Krishna himself says, the 11th, 10th, and 11th chapter. Thus, we have got two levels of Karma Yoga, two levels of Upasana Yoga. And once a person has gone through successfully is important. And success requires what? As I said, committed practicing these sadhanas for a sufficiently long period of time. So once a person has gone through all these four levels, this person has got jnana yogyata. He is eligible to enter into the fifth and final level, which is jnana yoga, which is inquiry into nirguna ishvara, otherwise known as Brahman. And as we have seen, Brahman is none other than Ishvara in his higher nature. In the 7th chapter, it was called Para Prakriti. So Para Prakriti Rupa Arupa Ishvara inquiry, which consists of Vedanta Shravanam, Vedanta Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. All these terms are all not new to you people. Shravanam means consistent and systematic study of the Upanishad scriptures which deal with Nirguna Ishvara. You have to underline the word consistent and systematic study of the Upanishad scriptures. What does that mean? It means, first of all, you have to learn from a guru. And your learning should be consistent. It is not that, once in a month or something like that, you attend some camp and then some gyan is given and then after 1 month forgotten. Next camp comes after 6 months. Not like that. If you are really interested in moksha, consistency in the learning is necessary. And then systematic study. What do you mean by systematic study? Systematic study means you don't straight away go and start studying Brahma Sutra. You will not make a head or tail of it. So you start with Prakarana Granthas like Tattva Bodha, Viveka Chudamani, etc. Then go to Bhagavad Gita, and there are other, scriptures are there. Come to Upanishads, study at least 5, 6 Upanishads, assimilate all that knowledge, go to Brahma Sutra, and then whatever little bit doubts are still remaining in your mind, get it clarified, get it removed, get them resolved through Brahma Sutra, and that too, you study all these things with Bhashya. That is called systematic study. And not only I study that, the culmination of the study should be the understanding that the Nirguna Ishvara is non-different from my own higher nature. It should culminate in the Aham Brahmasmi understanding. So at Saguna level, difference is maintained, Dvaitam persists. I see Jiva and Ishvara as separate entities. But when I come to Nirguna level, the difference between Ishvara and Jiva disappears. Dvaitam disappears. What remains is Aham Brahmasmi. Advaitam alone remains. And having gained this knowledge, I go to Mananam to remove all my doubts in accepting this knowledge. Thus, all the intellectual obstacles in the form of doubts are removed, which sadhana is called Mananam, which is also part of Jnana Yoga only. And then finally comes Nididhyasanam, which is the removal of all my emotional obstacles, all the psychological traumas that I have gone through before. All of us, we have gone through various problems in our life. They all remain buried in our inner heart, in our subconscious, which do not allow us to enjoy the benefit of knowledge. All those psychological hang-ups should be removed, which is called Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is also meditation, but it is not meditation on Saguna Ishvara. It is meditation on my higher nature, Nirguna Brahman, meditation on all the teachings that I have received, meditation on the doubtless knowledge which I have gained. And Pujya Swamiji used to say that during Nididhyasanam, bring out one by one all those hidden psychological traumas which is buried in your subconscious and deal with them. Once you deal with them, they disappear. The problem is, in our life, when we are not able to deal with some problem, we postpone it. Postponing means what? We push that problem down in our subconscious. We will say, we will see later on, we will deal with it later. And that later never comes. So Nididhyasanam stage is a stage where you can achieve a lot of things. Removal of your emotional hang-ups, meditating on the knowledge that you have received and assimilated, not yet fully assimilated, but through nitidhyasanam, you assimilate that knowledge by running through that knowledge again and again and again and meditating upon your higher nature. And most importantly, bringing out all those, because even all those psychological traumas, they are all sort of emotional hang-ups only. Deal with them, resolve them, neutralize them, then you will be a jnani. Therefore, Shravanam plus Mananam plus Nididhyasanam put together is called Jnana Yoga. And in fact, at this stage, even referring to God as he or she will not arise, because in Nirguna there is no male or female. There is a beautiful sloka Dhanyashtakam with Adi Shankara has composed. He says, नासन्न सन्न सदसन्न महासन्न चाणुः न स्त्री पुमान्न च नपुंसकमेक बीजम. What poetic. Kathopanishad we find Ashabdam, Asparsham, Arupam, Avyayam, Tatharasam, Nityam, Agandhavaccha Yat. That is the description of Nirguna Brahman. So no form, no color, no smell, no taste, no touch, no male, no female. This understanding comes, and this is Jnana Yoga, the fifth and final level of sadhana. And all the 5 levels put together is called what? Bhakti Yoga hai. And therefore, if somebody comes and tells you, I am on my spiritual path, never ask the question, do you follow Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga? That fellow may, smile and walk away. He will know that you know neither what is Bhakti Yoga, not what is Jnana Yoga. Remember, Jnana Yoga is also a level of Bhakti Yoga. Upasana is a level of Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga is also a level of Bhakti Yoga. Every seeker has to go through all these 5 levels, because nobody is born with a desire for God from birth. All of us are born with so many worldly desires. In fact, we will see in the third Mundaka Upanishad students, what is the secret of Punarjanma? Why are we born again? That is explained there. We'll see that when we see Mundaka Upanishad. I don't want to deal with it here. So we have to start with Sakama Karma, and that is why Veda itself is full of many Sakama Karmas. Veda never says we should work for moksha in the beginning itself. It says you work for what? Putra. You work for money. Do putra kameshti yaga. Do yaga for money. Do yaga for health. Dhanyam dhanam pashum bahuputra labham. Shatasamvatsaram dirghayuhu. Do Ayushya Homa every year for a long life. Do all that. Pray for all these. Pursue all these goals. Pursue all these worldly desires. Therefore, start with Sakama Karma and go through all these stages, and then eventually gain the knowledge Aham Brahmasmi, which is the culmination of Bhakti Yoga. Oh, this is the topic in the first 12 verses. Then in the last 8 verses, Krishna talks about the nature of a person, the character of a person who has gone through all these 5 stages successfully. And we call such a person a Parabhakta, who is in Advaitam, who is a Jnani, who has discovered Aham Brahmasmi. Such a Jnani is called Parabhakta. And Krishna clearly says that this Parabhakta alone is my dearest devotee. All other people are dear people, no doubt, or dearer people. But the dearest one is only the Nirguna Bhakta, because there is no distance between me and him. He has understood and he has become one with me, and I have become one with him, which Krishna said in the 7th chapter itself, if you remember. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Jnani does not stand even separate from me. So this Parabhakta Lakshanani, the characteristic of Parabhakta, is the final topic. So with this background, we will enter into the 12th chapter proper. Okay, we have got 8 minutes. I think we can start the slokas. So we will chant the slokas. First sloka, you all can unmute. Ready?
Ready.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः
अतः द्वादशोऽध्यायः
अर्जुनः उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
एवं सततयुक्ताये
एवं सततयुक्ताये
भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते
भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते
ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तम्
ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तम्
तेषां के योगवित्तमाः
तेषां के योगवित्तमाः.
Good. So the Anvaya is Arjuna Uvacha के योगवित्तमाः तेषां सततयुक्ताः भक्ताः ये पर्युपासते त्वाम् एवं च अपि ये अव्यक्तम् अक्षरम्. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Ke yoga vittamaha, who are the best yogis? Tesham, among them. Satata yukta hai, who are ever steadfast. Bhakta hai, devotees. Ye paryupasate, who meditate upon. Tvam, you. Evam, as described before. Cha api ye, and those who meditate upon avyaktam aksharam, the imperishable, unmanifest Brahman. So Arjuna asked, who are the best yogis among them? The ever steadfast devotees who meditate upon you as described before, or those who meditate upon the imperishable, unmanifest Brahman? So the chapter begins with a question from Arjuna based upon the previous teaching. Such a question is called Anuprashna. Prashna means an independent question. Anuprashna means a question based upon previous teaching. So in this question, Arjuna is asking Is Saguna Bhakta superior or Nirguna Bhakta superior? The one who is associated with Saguna Ishvara is superior, or the one who is committed to Nirguna Ishvara is superior? Between these two, which one is superior? A very important question, isn't it? Because we always keep on comparing things. Our life is full of comparisons, isn't it? When we go into a restaurant and order for some dish, the moment dish comes, you just see the next table, that fellow has got a different dish. And you wonder whether you did a mistake by ordering this dish. You should have ordered that dish because that looks more attractive. Huh? People tend to compare their spouses. You can hear people say, "Oh, look at that person. So much he does for his husband, or the wife does for husband, or husband does for the wife, and you are also there, do nothing for me." Another comparison. Children, your child has come after results are declared. How much mark you got? 95. What happened to the other 5 marks? Our neighbor, his son always scores 99 marks. Comparison. So our life full of comparison, and Arjuna is not an exception. He is also comparing who is better, Saguna Ishvara is better, or Nirguna Ishvara is better, or Saguna Ishvara Bhakta is better, or Nirguna Ishvara Bhakta is better. Who is superior? Not even better, who is superior? So here Acharya beautifully presents the human psychology. And the chapter deals with the answer to that. So Arjuna first described Saguna Bhakta in the first line. Bhakta tvam paryupasate. There are certain Saguna Bhaktas who regularly meditate upon Saguna Ishvara. And how do they meditate? Satata yukta hai, with constant commitment, sincerely, steadfastly. There are some people who meditate upon Saguna Ishvara. And what type of Saguna Ishvara? Because as we have seen, Saguna Ishvara is of two types. Eka Rupa Saguna Ishvara and Aneka Rupa Saguna Ishvara. And which one is Arjuna referring to? We get a clue from the use of the word evam. Evam means in this manner. Means which manner? Just now Arjuna has got the teaching of Aneka Rupa Ishvara only. So evam means as described in the previous chapter. Evam means Ekadasha Adhyaya Ukta Prakarena. And as we know, 11th chapter, Vishwarupa Ishvara or Aneka Rupa Ishvara was talked about. That is the Lord as the entire cosmos itself as described in the Purusha Suktam, as described in Sri Rudram. All these Vedic mantras talk about Vishwarupa Ishvara only. And therefore, evam means Vishwarupa Saguna Ishwaram Upasate. This is one group of people. And then Arjuna introduces the Nirguna Bhaktas in the next line. He says, Yecha api. So there are some other people. And what do they do? Avyaktam Aksharam Paryupasate. Paryupasate, we have to supply. We have to bring it from the first line. Since in the second line, verb is not given, we have to supply the verb Paryupasate. So those who meditate upon Akshara Ishvara. Now, where was Akshara Brahman talked about? You wonder, Where did Krishna talk about Akshara Brahman? How does Arjuna know this particular phrase, Akshara Brahman? 8th chapter, if you remember, Krishna said, Aksharam Paramam Brahma Swabhava Adhyatmam Uchyate. Arjuna asked 3 questions. What is Adhyatmam? That time Krishna answered, he has told Aksharam Brahma. Aksharam Paramam Brahma Swabhavaha Adhyatmam Uchyate. So Param Brahma is called Akshara Ishvara, and Param Brahma is free from all attributes. So whether we remember the teaching of 8th chapter or not, Arjuna certainly is remembering. And Aksharam means what? Nirguna Brahma. Okay. Time is up. So we'll continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyawad hai everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji. We have been receiving Ishvara Prasadam from you. Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
I am practicing Karma Yoga level 2. Hari Om, Hari Om. Thank you.
Beautiful introduction to Bhakti Yoga.
Yes, Bhakti Yoga. Yeah.
Namaskaram,
Bhakti
Guruji.
Yoga.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Guruji, this your introduction itself was all comprehensive, and we have enjoyed the Navanitam of your in-depth manthanam today. You have given a very in explaining 5-level Bhakti Yoga. You have given a clear-cut roadmap for the spiritual life. That got a very clear-cut idea.
I have not given anything. Ishvara Prasad, as somebody said.
Ishvara Prasad.
Ishvara has given. I have only spoken the dialogues.
Yes.
It is just like what happens when we see movies. Amitabh Bachchan, Shivaji Ganeshan, and all. We give all credit to those people. But remember, those people are only actors. They are only repeating the lines which have been given to them by the script writer, and also as per the directions of the director, right? So unfortunately, what happens? Who is in front only gets the credit. But I would not like to take the credit. I would give the credit to Ishvara, the entire Guru Parampara, because of which I am able to share all these things with you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, any other question, doubt, comment? Okay. No hands are going up, so I think we'll close the class and continue with the Bhakti Yoga chapter in the next class. Okay. Hari Om. Dhanyawad hai. Thank you all once again very much.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.